各位觀眾，大家好，歡迎收睇26分鐘見證實錄精華回顧。現時全球正係面對地緣政治複雜化，唔少國家都喺近年增加國防經費，包括擴大軍隊嘅規模，去應對潛在嘅威脅。但係本國自2016年開始軍隊就反而相繼出現人手短缺問題。究竟國民對於軍隊日常工作嘅情況了解有幾多？好多人經常都以為作為一名軍人只係負責喺戰場上作戰，而實際佢哋嘅工作又係咪真係咁單一啦？而喺家國要成為一名軍人，又需要具備啲乜嘢條件呢？
One of the challenges is to, attract a more diverse workforce. Okay, that's one of our main challenges.
So we're here promoting a couple of different programs. Some of them are our paid education opportunities. We have university training plans that will take someone who's interested to go to university, send them to school for 4 years.
作為保家衛國象徵嘅軍隊，呢幾年又經歷咗咩問題呢？
其實係有跡可尋㗎。原因咧，因為都係嗰個咧，我記得係2017-18年咧，我係負責招募組嘅主管。咁喺當時嚟講咧，都係我哋係好需要人加入啦。
現時居住喺卑詩省素里市嘅 Simon Cribb 喺90年代喺加拿大軍隊服務超過20年。喺呢20年，佢喺軍隊中喺唔同部門任職。佢形容自己鍾情於軍隊，呢一個係源於家族有軍人背景。
Once you're in it, it's like you're part of a huge family in a sense. And for me, ever since I was a small kid, I listened to my grandparents' stories. Many of my ancestors, relatives have served in the military. When the country has called for them to take up arms, they've always been there. And both my grandparents, grandfathers were soldiers during World War II. Even my grandmother was in the army. She was a sergeant and left the army as a captain in the end. And so growing up with my grandparents' war stories, I felt it was something that I had to experience, something that I had to do in my life. And having done so now, I certainly have no regrets. And if I was obviously a lot younger, I would probably do it all over again.
Simon 表示，雖然離開軍隊一段時間，但同戰友嘅回憶仍然歷歷在目。
I think being part of an organisation like the Armed Forces, it also gives you that sense of camaraderie, that esprit de corps, which, I know in many jobs, we like to be team players and everything, but to be honest, ever since I've left or been outside of the Armed Forces, I've never had that experience like I have as being a member of the forces. And for me, being part of it and that I had good experiences. I got to work with all different branches of the armed forces and everything. And really, it gave me a good start in life. And it's always helped me in the future, like getting jobs.
喺軍隊服役期間 ，Simon 亦都獲取過唔少勳章。
So 5 medals. What are they represent for? What are they?
Well, basically, you'll see on the left-hand side, I've got 3 there. Okay, and the first one on the left is my British Forces Gulf War Medal, which of course I'm permitted to wear on my Canadian Forces uniform because we're all part of the Commonwealth. And that was for my service during Operation Desert Storm, or Operation Granby as we called it, during the first Gulf War of 1991. And quite a few of them were issued to personnel serving. Not everybody got the bar, which is just above the actual medallion there, the actual bar across, because you only got a bar if you had been like on the front lines at that time. So you'll see that I have a bar on mine because I was serving at that time on an airfield and I was on the front lines.
When you got this award, what was your feeling on that?
It was, I guess, a nice surprise, and it was also, made me feel fortunate that I was one of the lucky ones that did receive it, because, not everybody came back and got a medal. It just made me feel that, I guess, that sense of pride that you have that, I was able to serve my country, which was something that I wanted to do since I was young and that. And so, when I got it, it was rather a nice surprise. But unfortunately for me, I didn't have any official presentation, because at the time that I received the award, it was mailed to me because I'd already immigrated to Canada at that time.
同樣擁有軍隊背景嘅羅錦添 Gary 喺80年代尾加入加拿大後備陸軍。咁點解當初佢有呢一個諗法加入軍隊？
咁點解呢？其實最主要呢就係因為我知道當年嚟講呢，你要加入呢個加拿大皇家騎警呢，就唔係咁容易嘅。咁我就想呢攞多啲加拿大嘅工作經驗啦，所以我就選擇咗加入呢個後備陸軍。咁同埋咧，我覺得咧，即係作為一個加拿大人啦，係有咁嘅需要咧，係去盡量啦嚇，即係每一個國民都係盡量都要出一分綿力咧，係幫國家做啲事咁樣。咁我覺得喺後備陸軍嚟講又好喎，有好嘅訓練啦，工作經驗亦都係會幫到我日後嘅工作等等咁樣咯。
對於軍隊呢一個職業，佢認為軍隊俾佢唔單止係一份工作，亦都作為一個國民嘅義務。
三樣都有。我覺得係一個興趣。如果你冇興趣咧，你絕對唔會係選擇加入軍隊啦。咁亦都係一個義務。正如我頭先所講啦，我覺得作為一個加拿大公民咧，即係盡可能咧都即係為國家做啲嘢啦。咁我覺得作為一個軍人咧，其實係可以做到好多嘢嘅。但係當然加拿大個無論正規軍又好啦，後備軍又好啦，唔係一般人咧想像中係咁嘅，係打仗。其實咧後備軍人特別係啦都係負責咧，譬如對國民嘅支援啊、幫助，例如天災橫禍啦，咁水災啦、火災啦，咁後備軍人咧就好多時咧都會被徵召出嚟咧係去工作嘅。咁甚至乎我覺得亦都係一份兼職嘅工作。咁其實呢份係好好嘅工作，你可以服務呢個國家啦，另外又有工作經驗啦。當然啦，亦都係有糧出嘅，有呢個叫做 pension 即係嗰個叫做退休金啦咁。
羅錦添 Gary 形容軍隊生活體驗就好似人生一樣，經歷高低起跌。
有㗎，深刻印象咧，可以講話即係甜酸苦辣啦，真係有血有汗。我最記得咧係1989年，我啱啱加入嗰時，咁大家都知道啦，我個身軀咧唔係好高大啦。咁我嗰時最先咧係嗰啲叫做 infantry 啊，係嗰啲叫做步兵啊。你知啊，步兵係非常之辛苦艱辛嘅嗰個訓練，特別係仲係做軍官添。咁我記得我嗰時係去東岸 London Ontario 嗰度咧係受訓嘅6個星期。咁有2個星期咧係全時間喺嗰個森林裏邊你直頭見唔到個天日嘅，即係日頭你啊瞓幾個鐘頭，夜晚咧你就去做演習啊、作戰啊，咁係好辛苦。
咁雖然有退伍軍人對於呢一份工作以及角色咧感到自豪，但另一方面，本國喺徵收新兵上亦都遇上阻滯㗎。咁究竟係乜嘢原因導致呢一個情況發生呢？我哋下一節翻嚟再睇。歡迎翻嚟節目時間。咁根據國防部嘅數據就顯示喺2020至21年期間，受疫情影響，軍方關閉招募及培訓中心，結果喺2年期間聘用咗不足2000人。咁雖然防疫限制已經放寬，咁招收新兵嘅數字亦都有1倍嘅增長，但係就仍然係低於軍方嘅目標人數。 咁究竟點解本國嘅軍隊會出現人手短缺情況？而喺招聘人手方面又遇上啲乜嘢嘅難題呢？
喺3月嘅一個週末，位於卑詩省溫哥華市中心 BC Place 舉辦1連幾日嘅公眾活動，而加拿大軍隊招募中心亦都趁住呢個機會吸納人才。佢哋設置攤位俾一班潛在人才去了解軍隊入邊嘅工作，希望吸引更多人日後成為佢哋嘅一份子。
So we're here promoting a couple of different programs. Some of them are our paid education opportunities. We have university training plans that will take someone who's interested to go to university, send them to school for 4 years to get a bachelor's degree in their chosen field. And while they're going to school, we're paying for all of their expenses, giving them full medical, full dental benefits, as well as paying them a wage to do that. So you get to be a full-time student while making a great income. We also offer the same program here for people who are looking to join skilled trade programs. We'll send you to culinary school for 2 years to be a cook. We'll send you to school to be an electrician, and we'll provide you with training, education. We'll pay it all, so there's no expense to you, as well as we pay you a wage while you're doing it.
So is it an additional cost to the students, or it is included in their program?
So there's no additional costs. All of the costs that are associated with these programs or going to school are fully covered by the military. And while you're going to school, you're a military member, so you're getting full dental, you're getting full benefits, full medical. You don't pay for your prescriptions or non-prescription medication. You're also earning, money that's going towards your pension, an eventual pension that you can take after 25 years of continuous service.
喺呢幾日同 Dan Clark 一齊參與招募嘅推廣活動，仲有加拿大軍隊太平洋招募中心招募及多元化主任 Marta Rosales。佢指出現時招募人手的確有一啲困難，而軍隊招聘嘅規模喺疫情前後更有所變化。
One of the challenges is to, attract a more diverse workforce. Okay, that's one of our main challenges. The other one is obviously the pandemic didn't really help us. Our numbers were reduced due to the pandemic. We also have to improve our recruiting process. So those are the main challenges that we have right now. So the COVID pandemic didn't really help us with our numbers. Just to give you an idea, pre-pandemic, typically historically we would have 5,000 members of the regular force, and about the same number, 5,000 for the primary reserve. During the pandemic, that number was reduced to 2,000 members for the regular force and approximately 2,400 members with the reserve force. Presently, we are about 8,000 short in members. It's about 10% of our effective strength. That's as of 2022.
對於本國軍隊長期面臨人手不足嘅情況，聯邦保守黨黨領博勵治認為執政自由黨政府忽視軍隊真正所需。佢批評總理杜魯多只將金錢花費落一啲不必要嘅支出項目。
After 8 years of Justin Trudeau's incompetence and his woke agenda, Justin Trudeau is ruining our military. He's putting the money in all the wrong places. He doesn't understand that it's meant to be a fighting force to defend our nation and its sovereignty. And instead, he's wasting the money that we could be putting into the front lines. He also made a terrible blunder in canceling the F-35 fighter jets. And then he turned around and flip-flopped 7 years later and said he wanted those jets. That cost us 7 years and billions of dollars. A Poilievre government will stop all the liberal incompetence and put money, effort, and resources into the frontline men and women who protect our nation.
曾經做過後備軍嘅羅錦添 Gary 表示，軍隊缺人呢一個問題，早喺佢仍然擔任招募組主管期間已經出現，亦都預計之後呢一個問題會相對嚴重。
其實係有跡可尋㗎嚇，原因咧，因為都係嗰個咧，我記得係2017-18年咧，我係負責招募組嘅主管。咁喺當時嚟講咧，都係我哋係好需要人加入啦嚇，無論正規後備都係，我就負責後備軍嘅嚇。咁喺當時嚟講咧，就係我發覺咧係個情況咧係會延續落去嘅。若果你唔大量係招納啲人翻嚟，點解咧？因為正如我頭先所講咧，嬰兒潮好多人適齡退休，但係當然咧，我離開嗰個招募組之後咧，我退咗休之後咧，發覺咧因為嗰個疫情啊，2020年疫情爆發。 所以仲加速咗軍隊嘅需求，要多啲軍人先可以咧應付即係國內國外嘅需要啦。甚至乎有好多嗰個訓練中心、招募組中心亦都關閉啦，所以形成嗰個嘅情況咧係唔係預先可以估計得到嘅呢方面嚟講。
Mate Rosales 表示，疫情期間喺招募人手策略都需要作出改變。
You know, like any workforce, the Canadian forces, we also experience shortages, mainly due to retirement, and also we have our members once they finish, their contract, they decide to leave the forces once they have served their country, and maybe explore other career opportunities. So these are the reasons why we experience shortages as well. We have, created new advertising and marketing campaigns to attract a more diverse military, right? We've also looking at improving and digitizing our recruiting process, and as well as we're conducting targeted advertising again to try to encourage more diverse groups to join the military, such as women, indigenous peoples, as well as minority groups.
就軍隊招募人手不足嘅問題，國防部長亞南德表示，聯邦政府正調整多項政策，包括縮短軍隊培訓時間。
We have in place a reconstitution directive and a retention strategy. So those put in place initiatives to make sure that we are implementing changes. For example, at recruitment centers across the country, we are fully staffing them. We are shortening the time for basic training. And in addition, we are aiming to grow the Canadian Armed Forces to reflect the diversity of the Canadian population. And so culture change initiatives and anti-discrimination initiatives are front and center, and I believe that they will help us recruit talent from across this country. And then finally, we are accepting applications from permanent residents, and that's going to ensure that we can draw from a very deep and rich labor pool, and we've already seen thousands of applications, Kelvin. So the future is bright, and I encourage everyone to consider the Canadian Armed Forces as a potential place for you.
You've always wanted to be part of something bigger than yourself.
喺今年加拿大軍隊定時定候都會喺社交媒體發放一個主題名為 This is for you 嘅招募宣傳影片，希望藉此吸引更多人才加入隊伍。
This is for you, the Canadian Armed Forces, a message from the Government of Canada.
根據聯邦國防部截至2020年3月數字顯示，本國軍隊68000人，而後備軍隊亦都接近有27000人。但加拿大一向都係吸引唔少移民。根據加拿大統計局嘅數字顯示，2021年加國少數族裔人口佔全國總人口嘅26.5%。可惜嘅係，少數族裔喺軍隊嘅人數比例非常低。截至去年11月底，國防部數字顯示，軍隊入邊有嚟自10個唔同少數族裔嘅人參軍。喺眾多少數族裔群組入邊，佔最多嘅係非洲裔，有2.75%，其次係華裔以及南亞裔，分別有2.51%以及2.25%，而將10個嚟自唔同族裔嘅比率全部加起嚟，都不足軍隊人數嘅1/5。針對少數族裔招募情況，亞南德表示軍隊已經作出改革，以求不同族裔人士主動參軍。
Well, we need to do whatever we can to attract and retain talent across the board. Some of the things we are doing is opening the door to permanent residents. We are making sure we are growing a rich and diverse Canadian Armed Forces where there is diversity, there is inclusion. We are making sure that we are following the advice of our defense advisory groups, and in particular, focusing on diversity and inclusion. And members of these groups share their experiences with us, and they make sure that we tell our military history, which is so diverse. For example, in terms of the number 2 construction battalion, we offered an apology to the members of this battalion and their families. This was an all-Black battalion who offered to serve in the First World War and were initially denied. Then they were able to serve, and we need to apologize to them, as we did in July last year, for their service, but also for the discrimination they faced. So, what we are doing is we're putting in place reforms for making sure that we grow a Canadian Armed Forces where everyone who puts on a uniform feels protected and respected. And we are also making sure that we tell the military history that we need to tell going forward.
喺國際層面上，隨住近年全球地緣政治問題變得複雜，再加上喺去年俄羅斯出兵攻打烏克蘭，唔少國家都擔心俄羅斯嘅擴張。自俄烏戰爭爆發至今，7大工業國集團成員國一直支援烏克蘭，並不斷擴大軍隊規模。但成員國入邊擁有最少軍隊人數嘅係本國，再加上北約成員國喺2006年同意將至少2個百分點嘅國內生產總值用於軍事國防開支，但本國喺2021至22年只有1.36%，甚至喺2024至2025，聯邦政府預計將會有1.4%嘅開支，仍然不足北約嘅協議。國防部長話，聯邦政府相較5年前已經將國防開支提高接近70%。
We are continuing to increase our defense spending. In fact, we're on an upward trajectory. We have been increasing our defense spending by 70% since 2017 under Strong, Secure, Engaged. In budget 2022, our government committed another $8 billion to defense spending. On top of that, we put forward almost $40 billion last year towards NORAD modernization and continental defense. As I mentioned, we are the 6th largest defense budget in NATO, and we lead NATO's Enhanced Forward Presence Battle Group in Latvia.
至於上星期公佈嘅聯邦財政預算案入邊，今年着墨於為國民提出紓困措施。至於喺支援軍隊方面嘅篇幅甚少，咁會唔會俾外界認為聯邦政府對軍隊嘅支援不足夠呢？
First of all, we committed $8 billion over 5 years in budget 2022. Second of all, we have committed almost $40 billion for continental defense and NORAD modernization, and that work is unfolding. Recently, when President Biden was here, for example, we announced $7.3 billion of that money towards base infrastructure investments across the country. And third of all, we are undertaking a defense policy update. We are reviewing our defense policy in light of the changing global environment, such as in the area of cybersecurity, such as a result of the illegal Russian further invasion of Ukraine. And that defense policy update will ensure that we are able to put on the table suggestions for further reforms in the area of defense. And once that update is finished, we will have more to say in terms of further initiatives. And so we need to take a look at the whole picture, the spending that we are making in defense right now as a result of Budget 2022 and NORAD modernization, as well as the defense policy update that we're undertaking.
本國軍隊長期缺乏人員已成事實，咁當局以及相關部門應該喺邊方面着墨，至少令情況唔會嚴重落去。
Well, first we have to spend the money we have better. We're wasting too much on back office bureaucracy rather than frontline soldiers, sailors, and airmen. And we're blowing way too much in our procurement. We buy goods, services, and equipment at a much higher price than we need to. So I will rein in the incompetence in our buying arm of the military so we get more for each dollar we spend. I'll bring money out of the back office bureaucracy into the frontline forces, and I'll put more funds in that we will redirect by cutting waste in other parts of the government.
好啦，今集嘅節目時間呢又差唔多啦。咁如果觀眾對我哋嘅節目有啲乜嘢意見嘅話，係好歡迎大家以電郵嘅方式同我哋聯絡㗎。我哋嘅電郵地址係 mag26@fairchildtv.com。如果觀眾想上網重溫翻今集嘅節目，亦都可以上去我哋嘅網站3個W.fairchildtv.com，點擊節目重溫一欄就睇得翻㗎啦。 下星期同樣時間再同大家見面，晚安。